Donald Trump's victory lap in 2024 was nothing short of a spectacle. The energy was palpable, the excitement undeniable. Supporters flooded the streets, waving flags and chanting his name. It was a scene reminiscent of his first victory, but with a renewed vigor. His win surprised many. Pundits were baffled, their predictions shattered. Pollsters were puzzled, their data seemingly flawed. The political landscape had shifted once again, and no one saw it coming. But the Donald, he was back, baby. With his signature confidence and charisma, he took the stage, promising a new era of prosperity and strength for America. His supporters roared with approval, their faith in him unwavering, riding high on promises of more jobs, more American-made goods, and yes, more tariffs. Trump wasted no time. He signed executive orders, met with business leaders, and set his sights on revitalizing American industry. He slapped tariffs on anything with a barcode from China. It was a bold move aimed at reducing the trade deficit and encouraging domestic production. Cars, taxed, phones, taxed. Everyday items that Americans had grown accustomed to buying cheaply were now subject to new tariffs. Those little plastic cats that waved their paws, you guessed it, taxed. It was a clear message, America first, in every sense of the word. The goal? To boost American manufacturing and bring back jobs. Factories that had long been dormant were now buzzing with activity. Now hiring signs popped up across the country, signaling a new era of opportunity. The reality? Well, that's what we're here to unpack. While the intentions were clear, the outcomes were mixed. Economic analysts debated the long-term effects of the tariffs. Some argued they would lead to a stronger, more self-sufficient economy. Others warned of higher prices and strained international relations. Small business owners felt the pinch as the cost of imported goods rose. Consumers noticed higher prices on everyday items from groceries to electronics. The ripple effects of the tariffs were felt far and wide. American farmers too faced challenges. Retaliatory tariffs from other countries meant that their exports were hit hard. Crops that once sold easily now faced barriers, leading to uncertainty in the agricultural sector. Yet through it all, Trump's base remained loyal. They believed in his vision of a stronger America, one that stood up to global competitors and prioritized its own citizens. The question now is, can this second term truly bring a second win for the nation? Only time will tell. Remember the Dow Jones, that stock market thing everyone freaks out about? Yeah, it's not looking so hot. Since the tariffs kicked in, the Dow's been doing more dips than a Super Bowl halftime show. Why? Businesses are nervous. Those tariffs, they're like extra costs, and those costs, they get passed down to you, the consumer. And when things get expensive, people buy less. It's basic economics, folks. So, is this tariff thing working? It's a question that has been on the minds of many, from policymakers to everyday consumers. Tariffs, essentially taxes on imports, are often touted as a way to protect domestic industries and jobs, but the reality is far more complex. We asked Dr. Emily Carter, a trade expert from Georgetown University. Her take? It's complicated, shocker, right? Dr. Carter has spent years studying the intricate web of global trade policies and their impacts. She explains that while tariffs can offer short-term benefits, they often come with long-term consequences that are not immediately apparent.
Tariffs can protect domestic industries in the short term, Dr. Carter explains, by making imported goods more expensive and thus less competitive compared to locally produced items. This can help local businesses grow and create jobs, at least initially. However, the story doesn't end there. But long term, they can disrupt supply chains, raise prices, and ultimately hurt the very consumers they're supposed to help. When tariffs are imposed, the cost of imported goods goes up. This can lead to higher production costs for businesses that rely on those imports, which in turn can lead to higher prices for consumers. It's a ripple effect that can be felt throughout the economy.
And it's not just academics who are worried. Business professionals and economists alike are sounding the alarm. The uncertainty created by tariffs can make it difficult for businesses to plan for the future, leading to reduced investment and slower economic growth. We spoke to Bob, a factory owner from Ohio, who has been directly impacted by these policies. Bob's factory produces specialized widgets that require high-quality steel, which he used to import at a reasonable cost. But now, with the tariffs in place, the cost of that steel has skyrocketed. Who's actually had to lay off workers because the steel he needs to make his widgets is now way too expensive thanks to, you guessed it, tariffs. Bob's story is not unique. Across the country, many factory owners are facing similar challenges. The increased costs are forcing them to make tough decisions, including cutting jobs and scaling back production. This not only affects the workers who lose their jobs, but also the communities that rely on those factories for economic stability. Small businesses are also feeling the pinch. Many small business owners rely on imported goods to keep their shelves stocked and their prices competitive. With tariffs driving up costs, some are finding it difficult to stay afloat. This can lead to a decrease in consumer choice and higher prices for everyday items. On a global scale, tariffs can lead to trade wars, where countries retaliate by imposing their own tariffs. This can further disrupt international trade and harm global economic growth. The interconnected nature of today's global economy means that the impact of tariffs can be felt far beyond the borders of the countries that impose them. The debate over tariffs is far from over. Policymakers continue to grapple with the best ways to protect domestic industries while minimizing negative impacts on consumers and the broader economy. Public opinion is also divided, with some supporting tariffs as a necessary measure to protect jobs, while others see them as harmful to economic growth and consumer welfare. Despite the challenges, there are also stories of resilience and innovation. Some businesses are finding new ways to adapt, whether by sourcing materials locally, investing in new technologies, or finding new markets for their products. Communities are coming together to support local businesses and workers, demonstrating the strength and resilience that can emerge in the face of adversity. As we navigate the complexities of global trade and tariffs, it's clear that there are no easy answers. But by listening to the voices from the front lines, we can gain a deeper understanding of the real-world impacts and work towards solutions that benefit everyone. The conversation continues, and so does the search for a balanced approach to trade policy. Remember all those promises about bringing back jobs? Yeah, about that. The unemployment rate? It's creeping up faster than your Uncle Jerry after Thanksgiving dinner. See, when businesses have to pay more for stuff because of tariffs, they gotta cut costs somewhere. And where do they cut? Jobs. It's a vicious cycle. Section 5. Small businesses, big impacts. Big corporations might weather the storm, but for small businesses, it's a different story. Take Sarah, who owns a bakery down the street.
She used to import fancy vanilla from Madagascar for her famous cupcakes. Now, Madagascar vanilla has a tariff. My costs have skyrocketed. I've had to raise prices, and let's be honest, who's going to pay $5 for a cupcake, even if it is made with fancy vanilla?
Section 6. The price of protectionism, inflation looms. Here's the thing about tariffs, they make everything more expensive. And when everything is more expensive, you get this little thing called inflation. Remember when a gallon of milk cost like a reasonable amount? Yeah, those days might be over. Inflation is eating away at our purchasing power faster than a pack of hungry teenagers attacking a pizza. Section 7. Navigating the storm advice from financial advisors. So, what can you do to protect yourself in these uncertain economic times? We asked financial advisor Suze Orman for her 2 cents.
Diversify, diversify, diversify. She practically yelled through the phone. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially now. She also recommends having an emergency fund, just in case things get really hairy.
Section 8. A taxing situation, fiscal policy and focus. Remember those tax cuts from 2017? The ones that were supposed to trickle down and make everyone rich? Yeah, not so much. Now, there's talk of extending them, which economists warn could blow a hole in the deficit wider than Trump's vocabulary when someone mentions windmills.
Exactly. Extending those tax cuts could have serious long-term consequences for our national debt and fiscal stability.
Section 9. Confidence in question consumers at a crossroads. The economy runs on confidence. When people feel good about the future, they spend money. When they're worried, they hold onto their wallets tighter than a toddler clutching a juice box. And right now,
consumer confidence is about as low as Trump's approval rating among people who understand how tariffs work. People are nervous, and when consumers are nervous, the economy gets nervous too.
Section 10. Trumpcession or just a bump in the road? So, is the US headed for a Trumpcession? The term Trumpcession has been thrown around quite a bit lately, but what does it really mean? Essentially, it's a term coined to describe a potential recession that some believe could be triggered by the economic policies of President Donald Trump. It's too early to say for sure. Economists are divided on the issue. Some argue that the signs are pointing towards a downturn, while others believe the economy is resilient enough to weather the storm. The truth is, predicting economic trends is never an exact science. The economy is a complex beast, kind of like Trump's relationship with the truth. There are so many variables at play, from global trade tensions to domestic policy decisions. It's a tangled web that even the most seasoned economists struggle to untangle. What we do know is this: tariffs are having a real impact. Prices are rising, jobs are being lost, and people are worried. The trade war with China in particular has led to increased costs for businesses and consumers alike. This has resulted in a ripple effect throughout the economy. Whether this all leads to a full-blown recession remains to be seen. Some experts believe that the economy could bounce back, while others warn that we could be on the brink of a significant downturn. The uncertainty is palpable, and it's causing a lot of anxiety among investors and everyday citizens. But one thing's for sure: buckle up, Buttercup. The road ahead is uncertain, and it could be a wild ride. Whether we end up in a Trumpcession or just experience a temporary bump in the road, it's clear that the economic landscape is shifting. It's going to be a bumpy ride. The stock market has been incredibly volatile, with wild swings that have left investors on edge. Economic indicators are sending mixed signals, and it's hard to know what to expect next. One thing is certain, though: the coming months will be crucial in determining the future direction of the U.S. economy. As we navigate these uncertain times, it's important to stay informed and be prepared for whatever comes our way. The decisions made by policymakers, businesses, and individuals will all play a role in shaping the economic future. So keep your eyes on the news, stay engaged, and be ready to adapt to the changing landscape. In the end, whether we face a Trumpcession or just a temporary setback, the resilience and adaptability of the American people will be key. We've weathered economic storms before, and with the right strategies and a bit of luck, we'll come through this one as well. So, stay hopeful, stay vigilant, and let's see what the future holds.